I'm praying Rubina can pull it out.
Yeah, make our lives a lot simpler.
So, yeah, especially.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and I would absolutely love it if you love this content, if you love the videos, if you want to support me, if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps to get the videos out there. It inspires me to keep creating. It just lets me know you guys like the content. And if you're new here and you're not sure, I have a lot of other videos on my channel. I've recapped some other shows, so you can go check those out if you're interested. And yeah, anyways, today we are going to get into day 51 in the Big Brother house. There was a lot more discussion about what is going to happen during tonight's live eviction. Now, it seems pretty clear and pretty obvious that if Chemo is on the block, he is essentially gone. Chemo is going to have his last days. But much of the discussion yesterday was about what would happen in a Joseph versus Rubina situation. And that was kind of where a lot of people were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And to be completely honest, I still don't think we are quite there yet. But that is kind of what happened. Also, the house guests were shown a variety of videos, so the feeds were cutting last night quite a bit. They speculated it's probably for the HOH competition. So let's get into it. Let's get into the day. Let's talk about what happened. We start our day off with MJ and T-Core having a pretty long conversation. So they are talking about the votes and where the game goes from here.
I don't know what other people are thinking. And that's where it's like, I just wanted to check in on you because I'm like, I'm swayable each way.
Yeah.
But because of like where I am in the house, I'm like, I don't want it to seem.
Now, MJ wants Rubina to pull it out in the arena. Right now, it is looking like Chelsea and MJ are more on the side of keeping Rubina, whereas Cam, Leah, and Quinn, they really are more on like the keeping Joseph side. Obviously, Quinn can't vote, but you know. So MJ says, look, she's swayable either way, but she is worried about Chemo at this point because she's not sure how close Chemo is to Leah and Chelsea. Overall, she says, look, I know Chemo is a lovable person. He's a lovable guy, but game-wise, I really just don't know where he is. Now, T-Core reassures her that Chemo is not planning to come after her. She is not one of Chemo's targets, obviously. And she even tries to pull really, really hard to keep Chemo. T-Core at this point is basically saying, like, look, you should keep Chemo, which to me was crazy. I feel like she took it a step too far by literally trying to basically be like, hey, keep Chemo. When at this point, Chemo hadn't even really campaigned for himself. So she tells her that if she makes it to final two, she has her vote. T-Core tells her that. And she also tells her that she put her on the block during her HOH week because it was easy and it was what other people wanted her to do. And I just gotta, I'm not gonna lie, there are times that I actually feel pretty bad for MJ because I feel like she's another person like Angela where people just straight up tell her to her face, yeah, you weren't a threat, that's why we put you up. Yeah, we thought you had no chance. We thought you weren't gonna make it. And it's like, okay. Now, MJ says, look, I want to work with people that make their own moves. Shade. T-Core tells MJ that Joseph said that Chelsea's name T-Core tells MJ that Joseph has been saying Chelsea's name as a potential renom, and she thinks that Chelsea is aware already that Joseph is not protecting her, which I think is true. I don't think that Chelsea thinks that Joseph is on her side. But overall, they both tell each other, look, you are safe if I win next week. You are safe if I win next week. And she tells her that Joseph knew that the majority was voting for Tucker during the vote, and he chose to vote not to vote with them. He was given the opportunity to join them and declined, and T-Core says she was not aware of all of this. MJ reveals this information to her. So after the conversation, MJ whispers to the camera, she says she has the whole house wrapped around her finger after this conversation. So Joseph and Rubina are discussing Quinn's move and how it seemed like he was backed into a corner with these nominations.
I don't know. Have you talked to T-Core? No.
She told me she did not respect what he did at all. Yeah.
Given it's like the people who really had his backs.
Yeah.
They didn't think that he would actually do it, or at least Leah felt that way, that Leah wouldn't actually put up Joseph, that Quinn wouldn't actually put up Joseph. People are still in shock that that actually happened this week. So he never thought that Leah was going to use the veto on Angela, but he's logical, so he is still going to have Quinn's back. He talks a lot about how, wow, I thought Quinn had my back, I thought Quinn had my back, but logically for me, it makes no sense to go against Quinn, it makes no sense to go against Leah, because who else do I have? And honestly, fair enough, Joseph. I mean, fair enough. Now, he says it does not benefit him to hold grudges in the game. And Rubina is just overall confused by why he would tarnish like a solid relationship that he had with Joseph by, you know, putting him up on the block. Like, it just doesn't really make sense to either one of them. Now, he says if Rubina does not win the arena, that he will vote for her to stay. Tikor joins that conversation as well, and they are discussing how he never knew anything about the collective being exposed and Tucker using the veto on Angela. So once again, they talk about how, you know, Joseph talks about how he didn't know that was going to happen. Just one day ago, he was saying, hey, I want to work with Quinn, and the next day he is blowing up and exposing him in that talk, and he was just saying that, like, again, I think he's trying to distance himself from that final two that they have by being like, well, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what his actual plan was going to be regarding that. So Cam and Chemo are having a conversation, and we finally get our first clip.
So I'm just asking if you could consider.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been through a lot from have not to here, so, and I know you're...
Get our first clip of Chemo campaigning. Chemo is saying, look, like, I would just like it to at least stay until jury, because I do really want to have a hand in choosing the winner. I want to choose somebody who has a story, blah, 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 the sentimental stuff. Now, Chemo says, look, I support you game-wise. And Cam says, I just had to make the best decision voting Tucker out for my game. You know, that's why I voted Tucker out at the end of the day. Like, I know you wanted to keep him. I know you were aligned with him. But for my game, I had to do the best thing. And I hope that you don't hold a grudge against it. That's what Cam's telling to Chemo. But overall, they both kind of agree that they want to talk more game. So Chemo and Leah also have a conversation.
Taking off someone because they're my favorite, because that's not how it is at all. In fact, it's like, it's just the fact of like, I know for 1,000,000% that
Leah says, look, I don't want anyone to think by me using the veto that I'm choosing favorites or I took someone down because they're my favorite. I just really wanted to take Angela off because I wanted to guarantee that she makes it to jury because it benefits me. You know, by having Angela as in the jury, that is one guaranteed vote for me. And like I said, Leah is so stuck on this, like, Angela is that vote for me. I had to take her down to make sure I had that one jury vote. I don't know. She is really, really stuck on that, though. She says the people that were adamant for her to not use the veto, adamant for her to do nothing, are the same people who never prioritize her game. She says that, look, you know, you didn't have to prioritize my game. You know, I'm not expecting that, but these people want me to put them first, but I never, you know, they never put me first. Now, she says she does not want anyone to go home because she's on the outside. She felt better knowing that she had one vote in Angela. But it does not mean that she's working with her. It doesn't mean that they're aligned. But overall, she says that she doesn't want anyone on the block to go home to Chemo. And they go on and on and on, kind of back and forth. But again, we know that Leah wants to keep Joseph, so it doesn't really matter. Now, Joseph and Quinn, they have a quick check-in about not much. They just go kind of over the votes, where everyone's at. Quinn has been checking in intermittently with Joseph, seeing like if he's talked to people, kind of where everybody's at with things. So yeah. Angela and Tikor, they also have a check-in.
everybody I know, but that's the consensus I feel so far of the girls. I've talked to you, I've talked to Chelsea, I've talked to Mackenzie. I haven't talked to Leah yet, so she's the only one I think left I have to talk to. I'm not even sure.
And Tikor is checking in about the girls' alliance. If Angela's still down, of course she is, but she says she still needs to have more conversations with everyone else. Now, Chelsea and MJ, they have a pretty long conversation. And they are going over whether or not it makes more sense to keep Rubina or whether or not it makes more sense to keep Joseph. Because again, that is really where people are not sure, heads are spinning if it's Joseph versus Rubina on the block, you know?
Yeah. Or send somebody home.
Yeah.
But it's like, if the other three, like, it's close. Like, it would be close if it was only 4. And so, like, if it's 4-3, if one person changes something, the whole game's changed in a different way, you know?
Yes.
So Chelsea says, look, I feel safer keeping Rubina than Chemo because she is protecting the girls. A lot of people have now, well, a lot of the women at least have decided they feel comfortable with Rubina. I will give Rubina props for this week. She is the one who has really been going around steamrolling the women's alliance. She has really been trying to talk to people and her head is in the game. I will give her that. Now, at this point, Chelsea feels like it will be somebody versus Joseph on the block this week, aka Joseph ain't winning that arena, no matter what. She says she has no preference between the two, but she does want Rubina once again because Rubina has their back. And overall, she thinks that Joseph is very dangerous. Now, MG says keeping Rubina in a Joseph versus Rubina situation keeps the numbers for those 3. And so MJ has been worried the whole time about the 3 having the numbers. And if Rubina stays, then yeah, Rubina is a number for their side. Now she says if Joseph is here, he is an easy target to get out. He's somebody that will always, you know, be kind of a shield for them. Chelsea says if Chemo goes this week, then Joseph needs to go next week, no matter what. And Chelsea feels that Cam would put her up in the next few weeks as well. And MJ's like, really? And she's like, yeah, like I'm not like with Cam. Like I feel like he would definitely target me. Now, they are trying to guess who Tikor would put up. MJ thinks that it would be Quinn, Cam, and Joseph, possibly Leah. But Chelsea asks, you know, speaking of Leah, how far do you want to take her? MJ says, I want to take her as far as I can take her without it harming my own game. And I don't want to be the one to put her up. And they do both agree that they don't want to have to be the one to put Leah up down the line. They also say they will never put each other up if they don't have to. Now, Chelsea does not want to touch Tikor. She does want Cam to go as far as possible, but she's not sure if he is playing her. Chelsea also says Rubina is the glue of that trio. So if Rubina leaves the game, then Tikor and Chemo are essentially free agents. MJ does say, look, we need to backdoor Quinn sooner rather than later. Chelsea's like, yes, yes, yes. But she says she will use the veto however MJ wants if she wins. So Quinn joins this conversation and Quinn is saying, look, my reasoning for Chemo to go is not that strong. So I'm really not sure. Like, obviously Quinn can't vote, but that's kind of the same thing that Chelsea and MJ agree on, where they're like, I don't know, like our reasoning to evict Chemo is not that big. So we're wondering, like, should we do it or should we not? They do feel like it's unfair, or Quinn, I should say, feels it's unfair to not even consider voting out Joseph, you know, to just say, oh, we're definitely going to vote out Chemo without even thinking about potential reasons to vote out Joseph. So Angela also joins that conversation. And Angela says, look, the numbers are 4-4. And I'm just like, wait, but like, how do you, like, we don't know that. Angela seemed sure. And I feel like Angela kind of told on herself by implying that she knows where the votes lie. Because MJ's like, but we don't know that. Like, how do you know that? And it would be 4-3 anyways, because there's only 7 votes. But overall, they are all sure that it will actually be pretty close in the vote. And I do agree with that. So Angela and Joseph have a series of conversations yesterday.
Close staying.
Okay.
Okay, I have heard that, just to like ease your mind a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know who the target is, but it's just about me making sure that I'm the one who stays in any scenario. So I appreciate you and Leah.
Joseph is really trying to work Angela because he knows that he really burned that bridge with Angela earlier this week. So he has been trying to work her. They have been checking in like every 2 or 3 hours at this point. Now, Joseph says, look, I'm not that worried. I do think I know who the target is, but look, I have your back. If I stay, I have your back. Angela's like, weren't you just saying a few days ago that I didn't have any chance in the game? And he's like, yeah, but look, like that was beforehand when everything was going down. He says like, look, I was not aware you were the target, because Angela asks him once again, did you know that Quinn was going to put me up? And he says, no, I did not know you were the target. I wasn't aware, and he even says, look, if I stay, if they want you to go up and they want you to go home, I'm not doing their dirty work anymore. They're going to have to put you up themselves, but you're good with me. So he has really been trying to hammer it home to Angela that he is not going after her. Now, Joseph and Quinn check in and they recant the vote.
During the AI, people just come together and they'll be like,
Yeah, cool. So I got Leah, Angela, Mackenzie, Cam, and then
who else is in the house? I forgot.
T-Core, Chelsea.
Joseph says, look, I have Leah, Angela, MJ, Cam, T-Core, and Chelsea. Not so sure about some of those votes, but he believes he has those votes. Joseph lets him know that, look, like, Chemo, when I had a conversation with him, he seemed pretty aware that it was like his time to go. He kind of seems like he's, he's aware that it might be his time. Now, Cam says that Rubina told both she and Chelsea that Tucker wanted a 6-person alliance that included Quinn, not Joseph. So they're talking about that whole thing. And he says, like, that gives a lot of insight into maybe where T-Core is in the game, because she was part of that whole thing, even though she's kind of acting like, oh, like, I'm over here. So they just talk a little bit about that. And Quinn's like, I don't even think that was real, though. Like, I don't even think that was going to be like a serious thing, Now, he is worried about Rubina being here and her showmance being gone, and then everyone just being like, okay, that's cool, as if Tucker wasn't against like a bunch of those people. They're just kind of like, he's kind of like, well, I don't know about Rubina being here. But in the same vein, he also will say constantly that Rubina being here is a big target outside of their 5-person alliance that they could vote out. So again, everybody is very, very flip-floppy in terms of what they want. It is not clear whatsoever. Now, Joseph thinks he has at least 4 votes to keep him, and he's not sure why Cam or MJ would switch up on him. I don't know. Now, Leah and Angela also have a conversation.
And pay attention, and if you notice that yourself, great. But if you don't, I wouldn't worry.
I don't notice that.
Exactly.
I don't feel that
so
way.
Take your own advice. Because that's weird for someone to say.
Okay.
Because how does that benefit him?
And Leah is just telling Angela, look, like, form your own opinions. Like, don't let anybody sway you. Don't worry about it. Like, don't let these people tell you what to do. Angela says, look, but Joseph told me, by the way, that you're voting for him to stay. And Leah's like, I mean, I probably will. But in either way, do what's right for you. Don't worry about everyone else. And they just go on and on. So those are some of the big conversations of the night. We do have some things of note that happened last night. So Quinn, first of all, guessed that Tucker is the AI instigator. It doesn't matter, but it did have me thinking that they never revealed to them who the instigator was, what the instigator's task was, the fact that the instigator got money. Like, they just never revealed that to them, as far as we know. Now, the feeds were shut down intermittently, as I mentioned at the beginning, for a competition. They were shown multiple videos. There was a ton of speculation on what the videos were for. One video had to do with Lisa. One video had to do with Kenny. So, obviously it seems like it's for a competition, but there were some people that were thinking maybe it's a fake out. Maybe it's a fake out, and we don't really know. The group studying, though, is too much, okay? I do not know why they study for competitions in a group. Why? Why are we studying for competitions in groups? Anyway, Chelsea and Leah have a conversation, and Chelsea tells Leah she will throw the HOH if it comes down to the two of them, because she's already won an HOH and she would rather Leah win. AKA, she doesn't want to have to get blood on her hands this week. Joseph does check in with Quinn and lets him know that he has the votes secured at this point. He feels like he has the votes 100% secured. And all of the people who evicted Tucker, they also decide that in any scenario, Chemo does go home. In a Rubina v. Joseph, they feel like one of them will be the deciding factor, which is true. Quinn, Cam, and Leah, they all want Joseph to stay. And then MJ and Chelsea, they would like Rubina. So it is seemingly going to be down to the wire. And lastly, Tikor implies to MJ and Leah that she is willing to vote with the house at this point, which could be very interesting because in either event, she's going to be most likely voting out one of her allies, unless it's Joseph that they all decide to vote out, which isn't seeming very likely. So that is where we're at, guys. If you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would love it if you could please help me to drop an engagement by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing on the videos. It really, really, really helps me. I am less than 300 subscribers away from 2,000, and I would love to make that goal by the end of September. Also, please make sure you're subscribed, make sure you have the bell on, and make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube's on that funny stuff. This eviction, it looks like it could be up in the air again. So we will see today, guys, and I will be back tomorrow with our post-eviction new HOH live feed recap. Talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!